Let's start with the non-messes because we may not have too many opportunities to do this. And
that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I don't see much more longevity in this New York sports success thing that we
have to
today.
take it any way we can, piecemeal.
Yeah.
So piecemeal is that they set a historical precedent, the Jets and the Giants, and people went back and looked it up.
People as in Ken Fermin.
And everybody. I mean, the broadcasters, the Elias Sports Bureau, everybody looked this up.
That is Ken.
Has this ever happened? Was there ever a day in the history of the National Football League since the merger, obviously, or even before that when there were AFL and NFL, where the Jets and the Giants won overtime games on the same day? Now, let's face it, NFL overtime games are relatively rare to begin with.
The Jets. You want to start with the Jets?
Yeah, might as well.
So, it's been a weekly rant from me every week. I have less of a rant. I don't really have a rant this week. I don't have much of a bone to pick with them. I do like Zach Wilson a lot. Not just our Zach, but the Jets Zach. I do like Zach Wilson, not as much as I liked Sam Darnold. That's well documented now at this point. If anybody's been listening every week, you know that's where I stand.
Everybody likes Sam Darnold because he's basically sticking it to the Jets.
He's a sympathetic figure too.
Yeah,
he's he's that guy in a TV show that everybody likes, and then he gets killed off and everyone's sad. So he was I don't know what Game of Thrones character could I compare him to. He was the priest that kept bringing that other guy back to life. Thoros. He was Thoros. Anyway, so Zach Wilson had three brutal games. No other way to describe it. The second half of his debut was respectable. It was respectable. It was some window dressing. It was, made the stats look a little bit better, but was not good. He had not had his first good game at the NFL level yet, and the Jets' record was indicative of that, 0-3. Last week they were shut out. This week, playing a really bad Tennessee defense. They were mediocre 2019. They were horrible last year. Did not get much better, if at all better, this offseason, and they played like it again today. However, Zach Wilson did not have a running game to lean on this week, something that has not always been the case this year. So Zach did what franchise quarterbacks do. I'd hate to put that label on him yet, and I'm not going to put that label on him, but he did what franchise quarterbacks do. Without any support from the run game or anything like that, he, no turnovers caused by the defense. He took the game into his own hands, made a couple throws, and the Jets won. Right? That gorgeous touchdown pass he threw to Corey Davis. What was that? That was I know he completed it over 56 yards in the air. Do we know how many yards from scrimmage that was? That was a dot. Threw another 50-plus yard pass to Keelan Cole on the run. He was just playing backyard football all day. You have to when you play behind the worst offensive line in the NFL. What are you going to do? Sit in the pocket? How are you going to do that?
And Robert Saleh, too, you give credit to the Jets coaching staff. They drew up the plays that the Jets needed in order to score offensively. But we talk about Zach Wilson. Obviously, he had probably his best game so far as a pro. Mm-hmm. But the Jets' defense showed up in this one.
Oh, yeah.
Their defense played absolutely sensational. 7 sacks on Ryan Tannehill. Absolutely beautiful stuff. And although they gave up 157 yards to Derrick Henry, besides Derrick Henry, who did the Titans really have?
Yeah,
no Julio Jones, no A.J. Brown. Yeah. Basically didn't have any of their receivers, so Ryan Tannehill forced to just basically throw it to whoever in the pocket.
Yeah, right. And on that premise alone, if the Jets were a good team, if the Jets were a mediocre team, because they're not even that, if the Jets were a mediocre team, they would have wiped the floor with them. They would have been like, oh, you have 2 of the top 10 receivers in the NFL, neither of them active? Okay, 27-3. It's over, right? Would have been over at the half. But, alas, that's not the case. And they struggled to beat them. Right? And by the way, Tennessee lost the game. I mean, give the Jets their credit. They earned the win, but Tennessee kind of lost the game. I mean, the only reason why the Jets won is because they missed a field goal anyway.
Defeated themselves, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you want to hear some factoids that I just picked up off NFL.com?
Go for it.
Zach Wilson is the first Jets quarterback with 2+ passing touchdowns in 2 of his first 4 career starts since Chad Pennington in 2002.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, which just shows you the futility of rookie Jet quarterbacks.
Yeah, right. Not the only one that's an indictment on is Mark Sanchez, because just about every other Jets rookie quarterback had just this a heaping pile of you-know-what to deal with. I mean, Sam Darnold, that should be a war crime, what they did to Sam Darnold. I mean, they should be holding Mike McCagnon and Todd Bowles over in Guantanamo Bay. That should be illegal. All 50 states should not dignify what happened to that poor kid as a legal act on U.S. soil. But Geno Smith, another rookie quarterback, right? His number one receiver was Santonio Holmes as a rookie, right? So an unhealthy Santonio Holmes and Stephen Hill, who the Jets...
Well, Santonio Holmes did help the Steelers win the Super Bowl, yeah.
And then the Jets traded a 6th-round pick to the Steelers to get him, and the Steelers used that 6th-round pick on a guy named... what was his name again? Antonio Brown? Yeah, so yeah, the Steelers won that trade.
It gets better.
Yeah.
So Zach Wilson has tied Geno Smith 8 in 2013 for the most interceptions by a Jets rookie in their first 4 career starts.
That I knew.
So you got a plus and you got a minus.
That I knew. Yeah, the difference between... Actually, why am I even saying the difference between? Geno and Zach Wilson are throwing the exact same interceptions. Sanchez, too. They were bad decision makers. Darnold forces passes, but Darnold...
You know what, though?
In context, Darnold does it in desperation. His interceptions were more understandable. Some of them were tipped passes. Zach Wilson has thrown 8 interceptions now. 1 today. Not his fault. Corey Davis tripped. Happens, right? That MetLife Stadium turf is deadly. Just ask the San Francisco 49ers. Mm-hmm. So,
you shrug it off.
Right. And watching live speed, you think, oh my God, what an idiot. What an idiot. What was that intended for Kristen Fulton? No, Corey Davis fell down. So that wasn't his fault, but Zach Wilson's interceptions have almost exclusively been his fault this year.
The funny thing is, that Tennessee and the Jets, that fourth quarter is pretty intense. 29 points between the two teams just in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But, so the Jets can chalk up a win.
It's a win
kind
in
of
the books.
fell in their lap.
Yeah. Yeah,
but you know what?
To them, yeah.
You take it.
That's right. 27 points. What is that, the most in franchise history? I think the season high last year was probably 28 at the Chargers, and it was 26 before the Chargers intentionally took a safety to burn time off the clock. So, I don't know. Anyone have a stat on that? What the 2020 Jets season high was for points in a game? They didn't crack 30. That I know.
Well, let's take a quick look.
Last time the Jets scored 30 points, I think, was when the Jets destroyed the Oakland Raiders in 2019. That was also the last time the Jets quarterback threw for 300 yards.
I'm looking. 31. No, that was the Raiders scoring. They beat them 31-28. Okay, no, not there. Still looking.
Okay. 2019, the Jets scored 34 against the Raiders, right?
This is... Okay, they scored 17 in week 1, 13 in week 2.
You don't have to go through all 16 of them.
Yeah. They scored 28 against the Broncos, but gave up 37. They scored, let's see, 27 against the Patriots, but gave up 30.
Yeah, Nick Folk kicked a game-winning field
28 against the Chargers, but gave up 34. Following week, they beat Washington 34-17 on the road, and then they beat the Raiders 34-3 at home.
Yeah.
And just 3 weeks in a row, they scored 34 points, and that was their season high.
Yeah, and that was an NFL first, the only team to ever score exactly 34 in 3 straight weeks. And just to give you some perspective on how long ago it's been since the Jets scored 30 points, those last 2 games were against the Washington Redskins and the Oakland Raiders.
It gets better, yeah.
So, yeah.
Those 3 games were the only times the Jets scored 30 points.
Yeah.
That whole season.
Right. Yeah, so basically what we're saying is the Jets suck. But they won today. They were given a win by Tennessee, an unhealthy Tennessee. I'm sure if just one of them, if just Julio or A.J. Brown is healthy, the Titans win that game. They still allowed a 3rd down and 21. They didn't allow the 3rd and 21 to be converted, but they allowed the 3rd and 21 to become 4th and 1, which was then converted. You know, they despite the 7 sacks, right? Despite the dominance from Quinnen Williams, despite the dominance from his older brother Quincy Williams, who's a stud, by the way, 3rd-round pick by the Jags in 2019. They're a clown organization, and they gave up on him because he was hurt. Illogical reason to give up on a player, but that's what happens when you're picking first every year. You just do stupid things until something sticks, right? So the Q Williams brothers, they showed out. John Franklin Myers has been their best edge rusher so far. He's a stud. That was nice. C.J. Mosley was everywhere. Looked like vintage. Looked like Baltimore Ravens. Looked like New York Jets debut C.J. Mosley. Without Marcus May, too. Without their best player on defense. So that was pretty impressive, but still, they showed the growing pains of a young defense. That 3rd and 21, that can't happen. There's a 3rd and 11 later. That can't happen. Not when all you need to do is get one stop to win the game, and they could not. So we'll see.
They pulled it out. They could have won in regulation.
They didn't, though.
Yeah, but they
Couldn't ice the
did
clock
win.
either.
That's what matters most.
That's right.
So, turning to the Giants now, another exercise in futility, but maybe less so. Maybe they have an upside. But the New York Giants, of course, did what the Jets did, won a game in overtime.
Yeah, but theirs was a little more impressive, though, going on the road. Right? They were on the road, right?
27-21 in the Superdome.
Yes, okay. So, I mean, and New Orleans, that's a good team. That's not a great team, but that is a good team. They were 2-1 when they faced them, coming off a blowout win against the Patriots. Obviously, they blew out the Packers by 35 points in a neutral site. I think the only team to win by 35 in Jacksonville is any team that has played the Jaguars. So that's pretty impressive for the Saints. And of course, now you see how Aaron Rodgers is playing. That makes it even more validating.
I love how they dig this stuff up on NFL.com.
Sure.
Obviously, they're using Elias or something like that for Daniel Jones. Ken, you'll get a kick out of this too. First off, he has tied Eli Manning, Gary Wood, and Phil Simms for the most games with a 100-plus passer rating among Giants quarterbacks in their first 3 seasons since 1950. They were digging. But 1950 as well, Daniel Jones has 300-plus pass yards for the 6th time in his career. No other Giant quarterback had more than 4 such games in their first 3 seasons since 1950.
There you go.
Now, you have a couple of Hall of Famers in there. You got Y.A. Tittle in there. You got Frank Tarkenton in there. So, yeah, and they didn't do it.
Yeah, right. It is an evolving game, obviously. I mean, I think that the 300-yard game is a little more so
well, back in those days,
now.
300 yards was an achievement.
Yeah, right. I mean, 300 yards is still an achievement, but it's also, we can start discounting some 300-yard performances. Like today, Sam Darnold threw for 300 yards. Again, 3rd straight time, by the way. Did it 4 times in New York. It's taken him 4 games to do it 3 times in Carolina. He threw for 300 yards today. A lot of that had to do with the fact that they were losing by 19 in the second half. But
garbage time.
Right, exactly. He did throw 2 unanswered touchdowns to turn it into a game, but Dallas's offense is just unstoppable.
But here's another one. This I like. Remember, we're talking about guys who take care of the ball.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones' interception in the second quarter was his 2nd in his last 10 games, 10 in his previous 9.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're doing something.
That's called maturing. That's called taking care of the ball, and that is a quarterback that doesn't let you down.
Yeah.
In other words, you lose, it's not always his fault.
Exactly, right. It's one less headache in a legitimately huge area, right? This is now... I had a lot of faith in Daniel Jones coming into this season. The only one who I didn't have faith in were the 5 protecting him, the offensive line. I think, and I'm still not convinced that they're good. I know that he wasn't sacked today.
But that's right. Number 1, not sacked. Number 2, 1 pick, and 2 in 2 in
his last 10.
2 in his last 10.
Yeah.
Okay. Nobody. That's it's not an absolute record, but it's probably best among NFL quarterbacks in their last 10 games.
It's probably up there. Yeah, it is probably up there.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's perfect.
No. I
not
mean,
even Brady.
I mean, look, we say this, and then he's going to throw 3 picks next week. But, like, Daniel Jones was never the problem. His fumbling, yes, okay, that was a huge issue for the Giants. But
yeah, he didn't turn over an interception, he turned over a fumble.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. But he, as a rookie, the Giants' defense was butter, and any opponent who they ran into was a hot knife, And then last year the defense was good.
Uncharacteristic of Giants teams.
Yes, and then last year, without having Saquon Barkley there, and with having just the world's second worst offensive line, because the worst offensive line is just on the other side of MetLife Stadium. It's with the green and white. But not having that help really, it really hurt the way he played, which kind of dampens the expectations we have for him, right? We look down on Daniel Jones. I think people laugh at Daniel Jones. I do. I think that nobody considers him a potential future star. I think Daniel Jones is a great athlete. I think Daniel Jones has a very good throwing arm. I think he's very good on his feet. I think Daniel Jones has the potential to be a solid quarterback in this NFL. I'm not saying he's going to throw for 5,000 yards.
If the Giants,
I think he's a good quarterback.
Stick to their tradition and even Eli Manning falls into this, which is one of the knocks. Ironically enough, one of the knocks on Eli Manning is that he wasn't necessarily the biggest star on the team when they won, despite the fact that when the chips were down, he was the one who came up with the big play.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, Giant teams, when they've been good, aren't built that way.
No.
They're not designed to ride a quarterback.
No.
Because teams that have in the past ridden quarterbacks have not won.
Right. Just look at the Chiefs last year.
They go deep in the playoffs and don't make it all the way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, during the era of Sims and Hostetler, you had guys like Dan Marino blowing away NFL records. He got to one Super Bowl, didn't win it.
Yeah, exactly.
Dan Fouts, who Don Coryell, Air Coryell, was launching it all over the place. Got him in the Hall of Fame. Never got to a Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So,
that's a good point.
Joe Montana, yes, great quarterback.
Right, but Jerry Rice, the running game, the West Coast offense.
Right. It wasn't just him.
John Taylor, Dwight Clark, the
Ronnie
offensive
Lott,
line.
guy you love to hate on the other side of the ball.
I like Ronnie Lott. He became a Jet. That's the only
he
reason
became
why.
a Jet,
But,
exactly. Yeah. But when he was playing the Giants, but it tells you the same thing, that not everything revolved around him. He was just, but when it did, he came through.
Right. That's what a franchise quarterback is supposed to be. And the way that you develop a franchise quarterback is by putting him in a position to succeed when he's young. Right? Let him air it out when the chips fall in his favor.
Sanchez was on the right track.
He was, but they...
he goes from back-to-back AFC Championship games to the butt fumble. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, there was... they let some key players walk who they shouldn't have. Sanchez was not as smart up here as some other guys were, so I think that his decision-making was flawed from the start. I really do think that the only reason why they went to the AFC Championship is because he had less decisions to make, so, but Sanchez, I guess you could say he was on that track, but look at his numbers from 2009 and 2010. It's a little less convincing once you dive into it. Through 20 picks as a rookie, was never over 55% completion percentage, and
that's not good.
No, that's not, and that's in a position to succeed. The Jets' offensive line in 2009, left to right, DeBrickashaw Ferguson, Alan Faneca, Nick Mangold, Brandon Moore, Damian Woody.
One of the better ones in the league at the time.
That was the best one in the league at the time. All 5 positions, he had a Pro Bowler. DeBrickashaw Ferguson. I mean, Nick Mangold is on the Hall of Fame ballot and is going to get in. Maybe not first ballot because offensive linemen typically don't. But he's going to get in. Alan Faneca was on for a while. Did he get in? Is Alan Faneca a Hall of Famer now?
Ken?
Yeah, I think he just recently joined the Hall of Fame.
Yes,
I believe he is.
And then Brandon Moore's a Pro Bowler. Damian Woody was a Pro Bowler and a Super Bowl champion in New England. And DeBrickashaw Ferguson was a 3-time Pro Bowler. Missed 1 snap in his 10-year career. So he was definitely in a position to succeed. He did not become that guy. But the way to develop, as we were saying, the way to develop a franchise quarterback, you put him in a position to succeed when he's younger, right? Give him guys to lean on. give him a good enough defense, get him a nice running back.
He's in.
Protect him. Yeah, he's in. Okay, so there you go. That was who Sanchez was standing behind. That was who he's handing the ball to Thomas Jones, LT, Sean Green, and they're running behind those guys. No wonder they had success. And then, of course, the best defense in the league, Darrell Revis, Antonio Cromartie, and a Partridge and a Pear Tree. They had quite the supporting cast around him. But when they're young, put them in a position to succeed. The success and the winning will boost their confidence. It will boost the confidence in others around him. When it becomes time to take the training wheels off, you do that. They improve as they go. That's how the Bills did it with Josh Allen. And that's how the Jets didn't do it with Darnold. I'm afraid that's how the Jets are going to do it with Zach Wilson. Only time will tell.
Real quick, though, just a quick stat to throw out there. Let's talk about Sam Darnold for a minute.
Sure.
Panthers are 3-1 on the year. Probably one of the best teams in the NFC so far. Obviously, I'm not going to say they're going to win the Super Bowl or anything like that, but
why not?
So, I mean, why not? Right. I mean, when you have him, you have Christian McCaffrey, you have DJ Moore. That team so far this year has played really well. And yes, I know the game against Dallas. First half was pretty good. Second half, they got absolutely destroyed in that game, obviously, because of Dallas's fantastic offense. But
yeah.
Sam Darnold, 5 rushing touchdowns so far as a quarterback. What is the last time you think I'm ever going to say, oh, yeah, Sam Darnold has 5 rushing
Leads the
touchdowns,
NFL.
by the way?
Back-to-back of 2 rushing touchdown games. You know, it's funny. I saw a picture. It's a Photoshopped picture of Michael Vick in an Eagles uniform, but they Photoshopped it, and they made Michael Vick white. And they said, Sam Darnold right now. And then it's the picture of that. And I'm like, you know what? That's not wrong. It's not wrong. He always was a mobile guy. It's hard to escape a collapsing pocket, so you probably would have never known it. But Sam Darnold can move.
But again, keep people away from him. He's got room to move.
Yeah.
But the most important thing here is that if you are a front office person and you make a decision on a guy to let him go, and that guy becomes a superstar,
that's attached to you forever.
Oh, God, it ruins your career.
If Sam Darnold throws for 4,500 yards this year and 30 touchdowns, and Zach Wilson, he's not going to do that as a rookie anyway, but if Zach Wilson has a terrible rookie year, if he has like a Dwayne Haskins rookie year, and Sanchez and Sam is over there doing that, I think you fire Joe Douglas. I think well, I don't think it's necessarily the right move, but I think they're going to do that. I think the Jets, historically, under the Johnsons, under everyone, have shown the propensity to just do that.
You know, it's in their
lineage.
The main accusation against Woody Johnson, and several people have said this, is that he was more concerned being the U.S. ambassador to Great Britain than taking care of his football team. But
the problem is
Jets,
his brother seems to be worse.
Yes. The Jets.
His brother was like, "Yes, Adam Gase, I trust you."
The problem, I'm almost at an impasse when it comes to Jets ownership over the history of the franchise. It was the franchise, New York Titans, was founded by Sonny Werblin, Leon Hess of Hess Gasoline, now Speedway.
Right.
Hess actually still exists as a company. Leon, of course, has passed on.
Yes.
But
I don't think Sonny Werblin bought the Titans and turned them into the Jets.
Yes.
Werblin didn't found the Titans.
But the green and white was definitely a Leon Hess thing. Yes, the same color as the Hess gas station.
You sure?
Yeah. But in any case,
Sonny Werblin founded them and Leon Hess bought them out? I thought Sonny Werblin was the one who bought them and changed them to the Jets. Sorry.
Yeah, but Hess owned them for the he might have, but Hess owned them for the longest time, well into the 2000s, and then he passed on, and the estate sold to to Johnson & Johnson, essentially.
Yeah, right, $635 million at the time, I think.
Yeah.